Hi guys, happy Wednesday to you all. Happy hump day. Welcome to the Dixie Belle page. I'm Poe with the Purple Posie, and I'm the owner and artist of the Purple Posie. I am a content creator for Dixie Belle, and I'm also a business coach and a mentor for Painting Over Borders, my private membership group. So welcome. Happy Wednesday. I'm hoping everybody's having a great week so far. I'm hoping you're staying cool, you're staying safe, and all the things. So, hey Dixie Belle. Today I'm actually starting a new piece. I'm having to repaint a piece. We've moved, so it's been through a move, and I have a toddler in the house, so that right there just says enough. It's damaged. It's got some scratches, it's got some dings. She's taped, frozen pictures all over it. And so when I've taken the pictures off with the tape, it's just taken the paint right off. And so needless to say, I'm gonna go ahead and repaint it. I hate to do it, it's a beautiful piece, but here we are. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a completely different style. Hey, they're from Kentucky. I'm in Texas, and I don't know if anybody else is in Texas, but we're burning up down here. What time is it? It's 11. It's already pushing 100 degrees. So there's that. So I listed the product list that I'm going to be using today. I'm going with some greens. It's the greens. I'm going to go with the greens today. We're going to be using some collard greens, which I've painted with collard greens. And we're gonna use holy guacamole, which I've never painted with before, not one time. Hot, hot, hot. Yes, Dixie Belle's in Florida, and I think they're having the same type of weather. Spanish moss, which is a really mossy kind of green, grayish kind of color. And then I'll be kind of working in some coffee bean. I haven't decided if I want to use my little putty knife to faux distress. I've got like a little faux distressing technique that I use a lot. I haven't quite decided, but I do want to work in some coffee bean to kind of embrace the dings and scratches that I know this is going to get because #toddler. So that's what we're using today. And I also am going to be live on the Dixie Belle page again tomorrow at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, and I will be working on this. So you guys will get to see a lot of this painted. So, hello. Oh, we got, what is that, German? Hi. It is a fabulous color. I love collard greens. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna throw my glasses on. It's hard to see with the glasses. There's like a glare, but I do need to see in order to paint. So, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go in with collard greens. I grabbed all the things because, I don't ever know what I'm gonna do. So I've got some flat minis. I've got some angled minis. I've got the French tip, and I've got some premium chip brushes. So I've got them all on standby in case I need them. So they're all over here. But I am gonna start with the flat mini. This is my favorite brush. I always use the flat mini, always. So we're gonna go in with the collard greens. Hello from Mississippi. Yeah, brush heaven. And I actually have, I don't know, probably 20 more over there. Not to brag or anything. Not to brag. Hey Karina. Hey there. All right. So I just opened the collard greens. My other one was almost out, and I just wanted to open a fresh one. So we're gonna work from the bottom up. Today we're gonna work on this. I have my heat gun ready, so we are going to try to get this bottom one and maybe start up here. But I want to at least get this drawer done. Now you guys are gonna be able to see my creative process. So I'm like the queen of, and you can ask my my partner in crime there, Malia with Mustard Tree Market. I am notorious for painting something and then painting it again because I'm like, I don't like it. And that's the beauty of paint. It's just paint. If you don't like it, you just start all over again. for me, the base coat is a really good way to get your paint on here, all the colors, kind of do the technique you're gonna do. You know, it's kind of like a rough draft, and you can get it on here, see how you like it, make sure it's gonna work for you. And if you don't, you go in with your final coat and make any adjustments that you might need. So you guys are gonna get to come along and kind of see my creative process and how I do things. So this is colored greens, and it's actually covering like almost 100%. So there's that. But we will go in with a second coat, because I'm sure there'll be spots where there's not. And I'm going to paint my hardware on this one. If you guys paint furniture, you'll recognize this hardware and how difficult it is to get off. So I'm just going to paint right over that hardware. And I know for sure, I've already decided, I am going to seal this piece with hemp oil. How do you do hemp oil? If you guys haven't sealed a piece with hemp oil, I highly recommend doing it. It is an amazing sealant when done correctly. I just finished a dresser for my daughter. Hey there, Donna. And I sealed portions of it with How Do You Do Hemp Oil. I ran out. I'm waiting for my order. It should be here today, I believe. And it's perfect. So you apply it, you let it soak in, you apply some more, and once you get it applied and it's still oily, you know, like after 12 hours or roughly, if it's still oily, then the paint is gotten as much as it needs. You buff it out and it is good to go, and you cannot scratch it off. I didn't believe Malia when she told me this, because I was a little hesitant to use it as a top coat, and she was telling me about it, and I said, prove it, send me a video, and she did, and I was like, whoa, I gotta try it. And it works. It works. So if you're just popping on, we're going in with collard greens. So my plan for this piece is to go with of course I'm gonna do my boho type style, and make it at the same time very rusticy, because that's a word, to embrace my toddler who has ruined this piece. She has a scooter that we let her have in the house because it's, you know, like 120 outside, and our main living area is like 1,000 square foot, so she's got plenty of room. But she does, you know, crash into this thing, and so the legs are not in good shape. She scratches it. She does all kinds of things. And unfortunately, I gotta repaint it. And we've moved, and it got dinged up and scratched as well. I'm just gonna slap it on there. It'll get covered. There we go. I'm not worried about the paint drying up a little bit, because what I want to do is I am going to blend in some of the, what is it? Holy guacamole, but I want it to be, so typically I would do like I'd keep my paint really, really wet with my mister bottle to do a really smooth, you know, blend. But I'm not too concerned. I am going to mist over here because it is almost completely dry. So I am okay with it blending in some areas, and if it's dry and kind of dry brushes, I'm okay with that too, because I want a kind of a different look than I normally do. So let me hit that real quick. Come over here. I hope you guys can see. I didn't even check. Hey, from Jersey. So let me get over here. I'm trying to go fast because I don't want it to dry up too quickly. I've got a fan, my ceiling fan going, because, you know, it's hot. hoping I'm getting the side of this drawer. Make sure it's pushed in. Okay, let me grab, ooh, let me get this. I can always touch that up if needed. Okay, I'm not gonna switch brushes. Don't yell at me. A lot of people do not believe in that, and that's okay, I understand. But I'm not gonna switch brushes. I'm gonna go ahead and go in with the Holy Guacamole. And like I said, this is really kind of a test run to make sure I'm liking the color combination. Making sure that it is, and like I said, that it's almost, I really don't even need a second coat, but I'm gonna do it. There's a few spots that, I don't know. So I'm gonna go in and throw in some of the Holy Guacamole. I'm not worried about a super good blend. I'm just gonna throw it in here in just random spots. Because, just because. I'm just, like I said, I'm testing this out. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my Spanish moss too, because let's go ahead and accent. Ooh. I shook these up real good before I came on camera, just so you know, because you do need to shake your paint. I'm gonna add a little bit more of the guacamole here. So I'm not, like, it's streaky right here, and I'm okay with that. I'm not worried about it. This is the beauty of the boho. This is the beauty of the boho because, you know, it's perfectly imperfect. I'm not worried about it. So then I think I'm gonna come in and I'm going to grab just a tiny bit. A tiny bit. I don't know if y'all can see just how much is at the edge of that brush. And I'm gonna come at the bottom. Just come at the bottom and kind of add to that, maybe accent it a little bit. Let me spritz over here real quick. Make it a little bit wet in areas. And just a tiny bit, tiny bit. Let's go ahead and just throw some down here. And this is all just going to be kind of layering. So if you get too light in an area, you can come back and add. It's a pretty smooth blend right there, and I'm not sure I like it. So we'll let it sit and dry a little bit, and we'll come in and we'll layer some more of the, what's it called? Colored greens. I'm going to add a little bit, see how much of the Holy Guacamole I've got on the edges there. We're going to add a little bit here. And then, like I said, what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to take my putty knife. I've got a 2-inch beveled putty knife that I always do my photo distressing with. And I think what I'm going to do is come in and photo distress this with that putty knife. I'm going to grab some collard greens. And I'm going to do that. I'm just going to get the same amount of paint that I've been. And I'm going to come back in. This is dried a little bit so it doesn't blend. And I'm going to go over the Holy Guacamole and the Spanish moss. And I'm going to make it a little bit heavy down here on the leg, on the bottom. Okay, like that. Let's go in with the guacamole here, just on the bottom. And what I'll end up doing also is well, I mentioned the grunging, but I'll probably also come in, or the photo stressing, but I'll also come in with some best dang wax, probably in brown, and accent the, you know, around the edges of, these are like little pop outs. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but they're little pop outs on the drawers, in the drawer. So basically we're just coming across and we're layering a little bit, but I want the collard greens to be the main color. I'm gonna add a little bit more. I probably am not going to need a second coat, actually, because I'm layering. So we'll just be able to move on. Okay, I think, actually, what I want to do here in the center is lighten up this center, or this pop out. Let's see what that looks like. Let's see if I like it. This is my creative process, guys. Keep that in mind. I'm testing this out. I may not like it, let it dry and go back over it with the collard greens. Add some guacamole, give it a little bit of depth. What I love about, this is what I love. First of all, Dixie Belle paint is super easy to work with. It's very user friendly if you're just starting out, learning how to paint. Second, and like I said, it's just paint, so just play with it. You can always paint over it. Especially if you're like me and you're very indecisive. Some people know exactly what they're gonna do. Hey, they're from Florida, and they just go right in and they, boom, knock it out. I'm typically not one of those people. I have to, sometimes I do. Sometimes I just have to play. And that's what we're doing today. We're playing. So we're just basically layering paint in different colors, different shades of, so the collard greens and the Spanish moss are very much in the same color group of the greens, and the holy guacamole is pretty much a contrasting green. So that's something to keep in mind too when you're looking at colors. I like contrasting colors a lot for my colorful pieces. And sometimes those are the best ones, is colors that you don't even think about. I have a hutch in my my dining room that is terracotta and aubergine, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And when I showed the colors to my husband just in the paint jars, he gave me a really, really ugly look. I do too, Dawn. I do too. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece, but it is damaged and it does not look good. And I'm sure when we get to the top, you'll be able to see all of this, the paint is just scratched off, and the top is in really, really bad shape. And I hate to repaint it, but it is just, it's in really bad shape. I have a toddler that likes to use it as a, she just, I don't know, don't get me started. All right, so we're gonna come over here, mist it just a little bit, wet this out. I think I'm gonna come down here and some holy guacamole all the way, almost all the way across. And then I'm gonna let it dry just a tad and then come in with some of the collard greens and dry brush over that. I'm going to randomly just have a light colored section here. Now, once I get to the top and I start doing the top, if I don't like how it's looking at the bottom, and I try not to look when I'm doing a super boho piece, I try not to look at the other areas that I've done to make it not matchy-matchy. But when I stand back and look at it, if it's just way off, I can always come in and dry brush and layer some more and do all that. Thank you, Dawn, I appreciate it. It's not for everybody, and I get that. I totally get that. But, you know, as an artist, you have to, you just have to try new things and develop your own style. That's just what you got to do. You just got to play. You have to, I believe in watching others. You can certainly try to do what they're doing. But then I am a firm believer in then taking what you see and making it your own and developing your own style. I am a very firm believer in that because there's some really amazing artists out there that can give you an idea. You don't even have to try what they're doing. You can just see what they're doing and something may just pop into your head like, ooh, I wonder if this would work. It's very similar to what they're doing. You know what I mean? Okay, so I think actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and make this coffee bean and keep this pretty heavy at the bottom. Hey from Austin. Hey there, fellow Texan. Let's go ahead and make this coffee bean and keep the bottom maybe pretty heavy. Let's do that. Okay, so my vinegar water's over there, but typically what I do when I'm done with a brush until I can get it in water is spray it with vinegar water really, really good and then wrap it in a baby wipe. But my vinegar water's not nearby. So I'm just gonna spray it with regular water. All right. Let's move these to the side. Let's do this. You can't get your paint jars open, just... Yes, Donna, I am. I know it's beautiful. I know it's beautiful, but it is damaged. It's scratched up badly, and I hate to repaint it, but I'm repainting it. All right, so this is coffee bean. It's a beautiful, rich, dark brown. It's coffee colored. And let's see, I'm gonna go ahead, I'll just use a mini. Nope, I'm gonna use a French tip. I'm gonna use a French tip for this. Nope, I'm gonna use a mini. Gosh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna use a mini. And I'm just gonna work out of the lid. So I'm gonna go in with my French tip, my mini, gosh. Forgive me. And I'm just gonna hit this. And then I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let it dry a little bit. And then come in with the Spanish moss and hit it in some areas and lighten it up a little bit. Just a little bit. Kind of give it some depth so it's not so you know, boom, in your face. This sits in my living room. I have it on display right next to my TV. I love this piece so much, but my daughter has ruined it. Completely ruined it. All right, let me let that dry just a tad. And like I said, I will be on the Dixie Belle page again tomorrow, and I'll work on this some more. I'll work on this some more. I won't get it completely done, so probably what I'll do is I'll actually paint some of this on my personal page. So y'all be sure and follow me on the Purple Posie on Facebook if you want to see some of that. So let me let this dry just a quick second. Let me hit it with the heat gun, just real quick. Some of it being wet is good. It's fine. All right, now I am going to grab the French tip. I'm really going to grab the French tip and the Spanish moss, and let's just add a little bit, just a teeny tiny bit. Like, I don't even know if you can see. Little tiny bit. What color is that green? Okay, so the bottom is collard greens, holy guacamole, and Spanish moss. All right, let's work in a little bit of the Spanish moss here and lighten it up just a tad in some areas. Almost dry brushing. Let's dry brush. How about that? We'll just dry brush. I like the dry brushing better. Okay, so let me grab my chocolate brush, or not my chocolate, my coffee bean brush. You can always paint over what you don't like. Exactly, yeah. And I'm gonna come over where it's heavy right here, and I'm just gonna dry brush over it. But this just adds a little bit of, to kind of come in with the, what we did down here. I'm gonna come in, and I'm just gonna dry brush a little bit here, I think. You probably won't be able to see it on camera, but it's gonna get some of these brush strokes. The paint technique that was on this was there was a lot of brush strokes. So it's gonna hit the brush strokes that was underneath, and also what I just did a little bit. There's not a whole lot, but let's just dry brush a little bit. And what I'm doing is I'm dipping into the lid, and then I'm just doing this on my paint can. And like I said, I am going to grab some Best Staying Wax and brown and go around the edges a little bit. So that got pretty heavy right there. I'm going to come in and fix this little portion because I don't like it. Because you know what? It's just paint. Like we said, just paint. Let's do a heavy mark right here. Or what we can do, is you can use the coffee bean, let's try that, and mimic what this would, like the wood was showing through, and let that work in your favor. You can also do that. So now this totally changes what we're doing down here. Instead of dry brushing, we're gonna add a couple of little long streaks. You probably can't see under there of the coffee bean, whoops, in some areas. And this will almost look like grunge as well. Let's hit a little area over here. What time is it? We're gonna let that uh-oh work in our favor. We're just gonna roll with it. Happy accident. I should use a French tip for this, but we'll make it work. We'll make it work. I'm gonna get a tiny, tiny part of this edge, or this corner. All right, how about that? I want something right here. Just a little something. I like it. I like it. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Alrighty, now let's do a door because it's 11:30. We still have some time. I'll bring you guys up a little bit. So you can see right here, like here's a good, you can see that on camera. Whoops. You can see that on camera. So this is, I'm not sure what she did here. This was tape coming off. I don't know if y'all can see that, but it's down to the wood. This is like way past the wood. I mean, it's white because the wood is like a cherry brown type of color. Not sure what she did there to expose like white. I mean, she went down past the stain. And then you can see down here, hi there from Spain, a long scratch. That may have been from moving. I'm not even sure how long that's been there. I don't even know. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open this door a little bit so we don't mess up the chocolate we just did, because I'm messy. And then I'll bring you guys this way. How about that? All right, so let's start all over again, kind of how we did down here, and let's go collard greens. I may have to stand. Actually. Hey, Lynn. Oh. Let me stand and bring you guys up, because I'm not going to be able to reach the top. Thank you, Jane. I appreciate you. And bring you guys back. Y'all aren't going to be able to see the whole thing. All right, let's start with the colored greens. I'm gonna get my brush out from my baby wipe, and I'm just gonna wipe it off just a little bit. Just gonna wipe it off. Thank you, Donna. I appreciate you. You guys, you can use that link that I pinned there for you. You can get any of those products. You can get them shipped to you, or you can also use that link to find a retailer near you. If you don't have a retailer, you can definitely order from that link, and it sure does help me, and I appreciate it for sure. All right, so let's come over here and start. You know, I think what I'm going to do up here is make the center more of the Spanish moss. Make it lighter, I think. That way we keep the bottom heavy. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So the bottom's got a heaviness to it. And maybe we'll work in sections here. Since it is such a large area, so I am gonna sit, sorry, be patient with me, I'm so sorry. I am gonna sit, and maybe we'll just go halfway up. Yes, there are retailers in Canada, Donna, actually. I know there's one in my group, so for sure, yeah. I don't know exactly where they are, but there are some in Canada for sure. So maybe we'll work in little sections here. And we'll repeat what we did down there on the outside. And maybe we'll get to that center. I hope you guys can see. So we're throwing on collard greens. This has got a funky opening. I don't know if y'all can see that, the way it opens. So it keeps trying to open weird on me. And since I've painted over the hardware over there, I'm gonna go ahead and just paint over the hardware over here too. You can definitely paint over hardware with Dixie Belle paint, not a big deal. Works just fine. Let me open this real quick. I think this used to be a TV stand of some sort. I use it to store all of my fuzzy blankets in my living room. And my daughter will get a very stern, no more taping Elsa pictures. Do this thing. Dixie Belle paint and Gator hide should definitely take care of this problem, but it's not a tack board. All right, we'll just go halfway up. Okay, so this is collard greens. Now we're gonna go in with the holy guacamole. You can do just like we did at the bottom. We're gonna accent some areas, and I'm just, hey there from Switzerland, just a little bit. And this is a smaller type of area, so I'm gonna try not to overdo it. Let's see. Just do some dry brushing there. Let's see here. Right here. This paint's still wet, so maybe this will blend. I'm gonna leave that pretty thick. We're gonna, let's do the, right there in the center. We're just gonna randomly throw some in here. Let's see right here. Let's dry brush that part. Okay, now I'm gonna grab the Spanish moss. You know what, this has a lot of, you know what, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm not gonna worry about it. Don't overthink it. Let's grab the Spanish moss. And if I can get it open, and do the same thing. And we'll kind of come in near the Holy Guacamole. And basically kind of my thought process is maybe it's worn off, it's been painted several times and it's revealing layers of paint where it's wearing off. Maybe there's been a little girl rubbing all over it. You know how it is. She's notorious, so like we've, the house that we bought, they smoked in. And so we've had to repaint like every square inch. And we've discovered that she's been peeling the paint off of the, what's it called? The trim that goes around the doors. We have found chunks of it, just she's been scratching it with her nails and getting it going and then just peeling it off. Like in her closet, in just random spots. She's a mess. A hot mess. All right, let's get some over here. Let's make this right here pretty heavy. Not get that chocolate. And then what I want to do is dry brush the collard greens over that. So I'm just going to dip a little bit, wipe it off on my jar, lightly come in. And just streak it down. These doors are going to be interesting. Okay. Yep. Just cleaning off my brush there. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish the outside before we go in with the inside, because the inside I'll probably do with the French tip. Let's add some chocolate. Oh gosh, the coffee bean. I'm getting my colors all kinds of messed up today. Hey there from Tulsa. Thank you, Heike. Let's see. Let's add the coffee bean in. Let's grit. Oh, I don't know why I shut that. I don't know why I shut that. All right, we're just accenting or adding just a couple of what it would look like if the wood were exposed and scratched off. I may not need to faux distress it if I'm going to do this, but I still am going to go in with the Besting. I don't know if I said that. Besting wax in brown, and go on the inserts and grunger out. Let's see. So I think that might be good. Right here. The thing is, and it's hard to tell, like sitting this close when I step back, like I said, if I don't like it, I can always come in, dry brush or paint over areas, you know, to kind of touch up when I get up and kind of look at it. There's kind of like a glare right here from the light, so it's kind of hard to see. You guys maybe be able to see it better than I can, I'm not sure, but we'll go ahead and get, or call that good. And then tomorrow, like I said, I'll be on here at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on the Dixie Belle page, and we will, the colors are not in the center, they're not Dixie Belle. No, this was painted over 2 years ago with a different paint, and it's damaged, it's been through a move, and my toddler has completely scratched it up and ruined it, so unfortunately I have to repaint it. It's just, I've let it sit there and she just keeps messing with it and ruining it, so no, I have to repaint it, unfortunately. I don't remember what I was saying, but I'll be live on here tomorrow at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, and we'll work on this some more. And then I'll probably work on it on my Facebook page at the Purple Posie. If you want to hop over there, give me, I'd appreciate it. And yeah, you can use that link there, like I said, to get any of these products that I've used today. And if you don't have a local retailer, you can use that link to find one. And if you order, that sure helps my small business, and I appreciate it. So thanks for joining. I hope you learned a little bit of something. If you have any questions, please tag me, and I will come back and answer any questions that you may have. I think that's it. I hope you guys have a fabulous Wednesday, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Hello. Hey everybody, welcome. Happy, what is today? Thursday to you all. It's J Po here with Purple Posie. Welcome to the Dixie Belle page. I am here tonight and I'm going to show you guys a super cool boho bungee. Let's start the night off right? A super boho grungy kind of green technique that I'm doing on this TV armoire behind me. Y'all say hey as you jump on. Let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to know. As I said, I'm J Po. I'm the owner and artist of the Purple Posie. I'm a content creator for Dixie Belle, and I'm a business coach and a mentor for my private membership group, Painting Over Borders. So welcome. Hey there, Rochelle. Hey, Malia. Hey, everybody. Welcome. So I started this piece actually yesterday on the Dixie Belle page, and this is what we did. So I don't know if you guys can see that real well, actually. Hey there from North Carolina. So what we did on the Dixie Belle page yesterday, we actually painted the bottom down there. I don't know if you can see that. And we did the outside. We kind of did the outside of the piece. I painted this off camera, and I'm going to show y'all how I did this over here tonight. So the centers are super light. They're a little bit, I don't know, it doesn't look like you guys can tell really well. In person, it's very subtle kind of depth and dimension, and it's got every color that I used on the outside, but it's just blended in a little bit more and kind of lightened up a little bit. Hey, from Mississippi. I'm in Texas. We're burning up down here. It was about 170 degrees today. Might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but you know. So today I'm going to be working with just 4 colors. This is Spanish moss that's on here right now. I was playing around with the Voodoo Gel Stain earlier to see if I wanted to use it, but I'm not going to. I got a base coat of Spanish moss on here right now, but tonight we're going to be working with 4 colors. We're going to be working with collard greens, Spanish moss, holy guacamole, and coffee bean. Hey Dixie Belle, I listed the products there for you guys. I also attached a link there for you guys where you can get the products or find a retailer. If you don't have a retailer, you can use that link to order your products. It sure helps my small business a lot. Appreciate it if you'd use it. Again, if you don't have a local retailer. So made it super easy there for you. We're gonna go ahead and get started, so I don't wanna waste a whole lot of your time. I don't. Hey, they're from Colorado. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get our paints ready. We're gonna get them ready. I can't decide where I want to keep them, which is going to be easier for me. I am going to be using the flat mini. This is my go-to. Hey there, fellow Texan, Julie. It's my go-to brush. But I'm going to go ahead and get these paints open and ready to go. I think I'm just going to keep them right here on my little stand, my little rolly cart. I think that'll be the easiest thing to do, so they're within reach. Y'all having a good week? We're almost to the end of the work week, guys. Almost to the end. I do have a fine mist water bottle ready to go and ready to be put in the play book here. Collard greens, Spanish moss, coffee bean, and holy guacamole. Hey there from Canada. Canada up in the house tonight. Whoa. Whoa. Making a mess. Okay. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get a thin layer. We'll just actually kind of work on the top here up so you guys can see what I'm doing. Holy guacamole. Spanish Inn is my favorite Mexican food. Lisa, Spanish Inn. Yes, we have a Spanish Inn here. Girl, yes. We'll just work up here and then we'll go down. We'll just do it in 2 sections so we can so you guys can see real well. So let's go ahead and get just a real thin layer. Again, this is the look we're going for. We'll get a real thin layer of the Spanish moss on here. And we're gonna keep the paint just a little bit wet as we go. I'm gonna work fast. And actually on this side over here, I just needed the 1 coat. But I wanted to kind of try, I had an idea with the Voodoo Gel Stain that I wanted to try. So I just went ahead and put the Spanish moss on over here and decided against the gel stain. So I'm going to keep this pretty wet because I don't really need a really thick layer. And it just helped me use less paint because we want to save our paint, right? And you don't always have to get a super thick coat when you're doing your base coat anyways. A couple of thin layers is really all you need. Just a quick pro tip there for you. If y'all have any questions at any point during this live, please ask. Dixie Belle's on here. I know there's a couple of brand ambassadors, or you can tag the purple Posie, and I will come back in here and answer them when I get off the live. And then later on tonight, and then in the morning when I get up at like 5:30 in the morning and have my coffee. Thank you, Lisa. Thanks, girl. And this piece is actually also, when you're working with a lot of layers and you're getting your paint on, if you've got a couple of areas that the coverage is not, like if you have like a streak, you get done and you think you got your base coat on and you got a streak, but you know you're layering, don't sweat it. Don't sweat it because you're doing some streaks or some layers. So it'll get covered. So don't sweat it, okay? I have a streak right there. I'm not gonna worry about it. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in with the Holy Guacamole, and I'm using the same brush. I always use the same brush, and I always tell people don't yell at me. Some people don't like it because it contaminates the paint. But this is all I'm gonna put on my brush. Very, very little. All right, and I'm gonna come in and I'm just gonna very lightly, and I don't even know if you guys can tell that, it's super subtle, and just blend it in. And I'm just gonna randomly do that in some spots. When you're blending, you've got to keep your paint wet. You've got to keep it wet or it will not blend. I'll throw some up here. Now I'm adding in 2 more colors. So you don't want, I'm not going to go too crazy. But I just want it oh so subtle with the Holy Guacamole, because as we go darker with colors, it's going to add to it even more. Now also, I'll tell you, when you mist your paint with water, you'll see it kind of beat up just a tiny, tiny bit. So you'll want to, if you're not going to blend in that area, just kind of swoop your paintbrush over it. If you don't want those, I don't know what you call it. It almost looks like it's beaded up a little bit. But since I'm going to be layering, I'm not going to stress too much about it because I'll probably end up going over it with my brush anyways. But that's something that you do need to kind of watch for when you're misting your paint. So like if I had already done this down here, it might be a problem. Does that make sense? So I'm going to add just a tiny bit more, and again, I'm barely putting anything on my brush, just the tip of the bristles in. And I'm going to add just like right here. That's getting dry up there, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm dipping back into my Spanish moss, and I'm going to add a little bit of paint right there because it's wet. I mean, it's dry. So I'm going to go ahead and get that wet again. Okay, I think that's good. Give it a quick mist. Now I'm going to come in with the collard greens, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I have very little on my brush. Very little on my brush. Hey there, Deborah. And I'm just going to come in. This is going to be a little bit more noticeable, but this is where the depth is going to start coming in and showing. And this is why I do boho, because boho is not perfect. And if you mess up, who's gonna know, right? Hey there. Hey there in the UK. My goodness, it's gotta be late there. It's gotta be late there. And then if you get it too dark in an area, you can always let it dry just a tad and go back in with your Spanish moss and cover that right up. It's just paint, guys, it's just paint. You can always paint over it. If I ended up doing all this and I hated it, I just go right back in with the Spanish moss and start all over again. It's just paint. So I'm gonna kind of go this way a little bit, I think. Switch things up a bit. I'm using a very, very light hand. My bristles are barely touching the paint. And it's a little bit streaky, and I'm okay with that because I don't want it to be super perfect. I'm okay with it looking a little bit streaky because that's how it looks over here. So I'm okay with that. I'm trying not to look over here because I don't want it to be super matchy-matchy. Let's see, get a little bit in this corner here. And it's really hard until you stand back and look at it to see what you've done. And there's a little bit of a glare. Trying to get rid of that glare so I can see what I've done. Okay, I think one more little swoop. If you're not comfortable, if you're starting out with your blending and you're not comfortable spraying your piece, if you spray too much, you'll get drips. Down here is dripping, and I'm okay with that because I'm about to go down and paint that. Spray your brush instead. That's another option for you. Now I'm going to come in, I can't really see. Now I'm going to come in with layered or coffee bean. And it's about the same amount I've been putting on, just barely the bristles. Hey, Deanna. And I'm going to do the same thing, and just randomly. And here's where we really start seeing more. I'm going to feather it out a little bit. I'm not going to put quite as much. I need to put my glasses on because I can't see what I'm doing. Now, Dixie Belle is self-sealing and it does not reactivate with water. So if you let it get completely dry, you won't be able to reactivate it. That's why you've got to keep it wet when you're trying to do your blending. So I'm going to come up here and hit this little area. I think, I'm looking at this other side over here, I think I've got a little bit, I think I'm going to come in and add, I'm going to kind of cover this up a little bit with the Spanish moss. I don't want it matchy-matchy, but I don't want there to be too much color on one side and not enough on the other. So I'm going to cover a little bit of that up. Really hard to see. There's a glare on that for you guys too. I see it right there. So this side looks not as blended. So let me come in and not blend so much. Let's do this. I'm just going to alternate between the coffee bean and the collard greens in a couple of spots. And then I'll call it good. And we'll move down to the bottom. Let's go back a little bit. All right. I think we're good there. Thank you, Cynthia. Appreciate you. All right, I'm going to move you guys down. Let me lower my stand. I don't have to sit on my honey. Let me lower you guys down. I think you guys can see that. All right, let me get over here. Get my paints down here. We'll do this bottom section. And if we have time, maybe I'll do the bottom section of the outside and show you guys how I did that if you didn't see the live from yesterday. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and grab another mini, which is up here. I'm gonna start fresh. Just gonna wet this down real good and wrap it in a baby wipe until I can get it in water. I have lost my vinegar water. No idea where it's at. All right, so let's go in with the Spanish moss, real thin layer, process all over again. And what you could do, now I made the bottom of this piece super heavy and dark because I wanted it to have like some weight to it. You could do that with the doors too. If you just had straight doors and no drawer down here, you could definitely do that with the doors. So as you came down, you could use more of the coffee bean and more of the collard greens, and you know, at the top use more of the holy guacamole. That's something that you could do if you wanted to have more weight at the bottom. I'm just really getting some paint on here so we can have something to blend with. This was previously painted, and there's some deep scratches in it. My daughter's like ruined it, and we moved, so I'm having to repaint it, but it was like bright red and yellow and blue, and this Spanish moss covered so well. I was so surprised. I mean, not really, but you know, it was a lighter color. I mean, it was dark red like this over here, and I really just needed one coat over here. It was crazy. This Dixie Belle paint covers so well. Okay. I think we've got a good amount on here. To play with. So on the other side of the door, I did the same thing. I actually did it like hours apart, and I was able to, you can't even really see, you can't even see where the transition is. So like right here, you can see the paint transition, but you can't see that over here. It transitions very, very well, even if you have to stop and do something different, or do something and then come back to it. It transitions very, very well. So again, with the holy guacamole, not very much. So at first I'm going vertical with my brush, and then I'm turning it flat. Need some more Spanish moss right there. Now in the, well, I can still go flat. I just want a little bit of that holy guacamole just to lighten up some areas, or brighten up some areas. It's really kind of a bright color when you put it up against the Spanish moss. It almost looks gold. And I was showing it to Malia. She's my she's a brand ambassador for Dixie Belle, but she's my business, or my group partner. And She thought it was gold on there, like the gold digger. It's like, nope, holy guacamole, which is her favorite color. Okay, so yeah, I think that's good. Now let's go in with the collard greens, and we'll streak a little bit better this time. We won't do so much blendy blend. Sometimes it's hard to do something on a piece and then come back to it. You kind of forget what you did. Got a little too blendy up there. A little too much blend. But it fixed quite nicely. So I'm able to come up and transition into what we did up here. I think the key to a boho type look is not to overthink. And I try really, really hard not to overthink. Doesn't always work in my favor, but I really do think that's key, is just don't overthink it. Just kind of play with it and go with it. I actually did something down here that I wasn't even intending on doing, and it really worked out beautifully for me. It was one of those, you know, happy accidents. And that's what happens. All right, I'm gonna go in with the chocolate and add a little bit here. Corner. I hope if you have any questions, again, if they're not getting answered, or if we're missing it, just tag me, the purple Posie, and I'll come back in and answer them for you guys. I know Dixie Belle's really good about getting to them if we can't see them. I'm pretty far away from the camera anyways. Even if I were to look back. Need something right here. Okay. I need to scoot back just a tad. Let me scoot back just a tad. I'll look at it. I think that's good, but I think I do want to add a little bit of Spanish moss in the center right here and lighten it up a little bit. So I'm just wiping off this paint a little bit, and I'm going to dip back into the Spanish moss and lighten that up some a little bit right here. I'm going to wet my brush. It's hard to see when you're painting live. You can't really get up and take a look at it from afar. I think that's good, guys. I think I like it. It's pretty close. I'll lighten that up just a tad. Okay, I think that's good. I think that's good. That's where we like it. Any questions? Hi from Oregon. You're welcome, Stephanie. Real quick, like, what time is it? Real quick, like, I'll just do a quick right here on the bottom. Just kind of quickly show you how I did the outsides. But I did do this live yesterday on here on the Dixie Belle page. If you want to come back, check that out. It's there. Thanks. Is that Yasmin? Yeah, I'm sorry. I have a glare. Yazine, maybe? I'm sorry if I butchered your name. That's why I hate to wear my glasses live, because I can't really see the comments because of the ring light. All right, so I'm mini, and what I did over here was I started with a base coat of collard greens. We'll just do this one little section right here, and then I'll let you guys go. We'll just do this one little section. I started with collard greens, and I basically reversed the process that I did up here. Let me pull this out. And the drawer down here was a little bit different, but you can go back and watch that video if you'd like. You'll see how I did the drawer. I don't even know if you can see the drawer. I can't see what you can see. I'm being very careful not to get paint on what I just did. All right, and then I did a lot of dry brushing on the outside. I did a lot of dry brushing. So I came in with the, what did I come in with next? I came in with the collard greens. Same brush, same kind of amount. And I went pretty heavy, I believe. I probably should have went back and watched my live. I believe I went in pretty heavy. And we'll do a couple of spots. And then I tried to come back in and maybe, I think I tried to accent these areas with the Spanish moss, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, I think that's what I did. So just a little bit of the Spanish moss on the edges, or the tips. Came back in, didn't necessarily try to get right up on it, or on top of it, or match it up. And then I did, where's my towel? Some pretty heavy chunks of the coffee bean. So let's say like right here. And this is all with the mini. This is all with the same brush. Of course, it went a lot slower, and some of this was able to dry. So I would put something right here, maybe come over a little bit, pull it this way. It's really just about, like up here, just layering. And then by the time I got all the way around, most of it was dry. Let me blast this. So like the spots that were the collard greens, I kind of dry brushed some of the Spanish moss over it. And then some of the spots that were Spanish moss and the chocolate, I dry brushed some of the collard greens over it. Can y'all see what that's doing? Got a whole lot on there. Just did a whole lot of dry brushing. Once I did all that, you can see over here, it's pretty dry brushed. Like that's the coffee bean right here. Can y'all see that? Yeah. That's the coffee bean right there with the Spanish moss over it. This is Spanish moss with the collard greens over it, and so on and so forth. But that's it. That's how I did it. And I can't decide if I want to take some Best Staying Wax in the brown and grunge it or leave it. I can't decide what I want to do with it. I kind of feel like it needs something, but at the same time I have so many colorful pieces in my living room. I kind of feel like I need something kind of muted and, you know, not basic, but just kind of toned down a little bit. But anywho, that was it, guys. If you have any questions, again, y'all tag me in here. I'd love it if you hopped on over to my page and followed me, the Purple Posie. I'm probably going to go on my page and paint on this a little bit. I don't know, maybe tomorrow I'll do the sides. I've been neglecting my page and I need to go live. So maybe I'll go live and paint the sides a little bit different than I've been doing the front. So again, the product list that I've used tonight is linked there, or it's pinned there for you guys with a link that you can order from, or you can find a retailer. If you order from that link, it sure helps me and I appreciate you using it if you don't have a local retailer. And that's it. Thanks for joining, and hopefully I'll see you guys in a couple weeks next time I'm on here. Thank you so much. Bye.